Hey everybody, welcome back to Horror Trans. My name is Stephanie Bree. I am a transgender woman, and today I'm talking about um, the 1980s post-apocalyptic sci-fi horror classic, Night of the Comet. Now, I have to be upfront with you. I did not see this movie when I was a kid, when it was new and fresh, and I should have. I watched it for the first time maybe a week or two, maybe 3 weeks ago. I watched it recently for the very first time. Now, as I stated in my stream when I watched the movie, or was it my Patreon commentary? I don't remember. But when I watched the movie for the channel, as I stated in that video, we rented it once when I was a kid, and my sister put it on. My sisters put it on, started watching it. I got bored and left the room. So we did rent it as a kid. It was in our house. It was on the TV, but I didn't watch it because I thought it was boring and I wasn't interested. I was like, this looks lame. So I didn't ever actually watch it. And I regret that now because this movie's hella fun. I mean, it's gorgeous cinematography. The girls are very lovable characters, not just likable, but lovable. You are rooting for them. And there's some real tension. Spoilers, I'm gonna spoil this one a little bit because this is an iconic movie, so people have probably already seen it, but there's a moment in the movie where you think one of the girls is in trouble, and your heart breaks. You're like, oh my God, if they did what they just did, I'm not liking this movie. I'm just like, this movie sucks now. I was having fun up to this point, and now I'm like, fuck you, movie. Fortunately, and I will spoil it, this movie has a happy ending. Um, but I'm not going to get into the details. But it's a cheesy 80s movie. So the happy ending is kind of like, oh, okay, it's fun for this movie, these characters, what they went through and everything. It works for me. Uh, Content warning, this is an 80s horror movie. So, yes, there are some problematic, racially insensitive comments um, and representation that you have to be aware of. Um, because that was the time this movie was made. Um, and uh, it, they're 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 not as egregious as some of the racially insensitive and problematic stuff from the 80s, but it's there. You have to be aware of it. Um, I'd be remiss if I didn't talk about it. Other than that, uh, it's a really fun movie, a really good movie. It's not super scary, but it is scary when it needs to be. There are about, I would say, three moments in the movie where you're legitimately scared and you're like, oh my God, please don't do what you're going to do. Um, and it has some good tension, but it's really good at breaking up the tension with fun. And this is an example to me, what I was talking about on Horror Trans. This is an example of a fun, this is how you do a B movie right. Yeah, you can have bad acting and a story that doesn't make a lick of sense and a plot that is bonkers and just random comedy, but like a serious drama underneath it all, like a legit terrifying story or setting or plot or whatever. And this movie blends the two really well. You can have fun while you're watching it, but you're also going to be genuinely concerned for the characters and legitimately scared at a couple of times in this movie, possibly three, at least two or three times in this movie. And it doesn't overdo it with the jump scares. There are some jump scares, don't get me wrong, they're there. Um, and they're as effective as jump scares can be, because by and large, jump scares usually aren't that effective anyways. They're just like, ah, and then you're like, God damn it, it got me. So yeah, that in that sense they can be effective, but also you kind of see it coming, so you can anticipate the jump scares for the most part, because if you've seen enough horror movies as I have, you know the cues, you know what to look for. Um, it's not super gory, but it is when it needs to be. It's gory enough to get the point across, but not so gory that you're like turned off by it. You're like, all right, this is not Dawn of the Dead. You know, it is post-apocalypse. There are zombies, kind of, and there is a legitimate threat to the survivors of this event, which it's a timely movie to talk about today because of the eclipse that's taking place. Um, I know an eclipse and a comet passing by aren't the same thing, but they're astronomical phenomena that people get hung up on for whatever reason. So that's cool. I like the premise of this movie. It's fun, and um, dare I say, it has. I will at this point in time, I'm gonna say this has the best horror movie post-apocalyptic shopping mall scene I've seen. Now, if you're gonna make a zombie movie or an apocalyptic movie or whatever, you have to have the shopping mall scene. You have to. It's a staple. It's necessary. I don't care if it's just ripping off everybody else. It belongs in your movie. If it's not in your movie is missing something it should have had. This movie has probably the best shopping mall montage scene out of all of them. This I'm gonna try not to spoil too much because this is to me the highlight of the movie and the point where it takes the dark turn, where it goes from, all right, we're just having fun, we're surviving the apocalypse, and then all of a sudden, oh shit, things got real. Now we could actually die or worse. And I'm just going to say the or worse. It's the 80s. There's men, there's women. You can connect the dots yourself. So, fun movie, highly recommend, absolutely a buy. Higher than a buy, this is a must watch. If you haven't seen it, go watch it. Today's a good day to watch it. So stay cool.